September 9th, 2025. September 9th, 2025. I want to have Annie Cyrus on to talk about Qatar, and President Trump today made a statement about Qatar or Qatar, depending on how you want to say it, which is very interesting because it happens now that Israel has just torn up a bunch of the Hamas leaders, gone. Big day in Israel. But what did this building have to do with Qatar? The building they blown up in Israel where these Hamas dudes were, what does it have to do with Qatar? Why is President Trump making this comment today about Qatar? Now, here's another question I would have, and that is, what about his golf course and, hotels and everything he's building in Qatar? I appreciate President Trump on so many levels of what he's trying to do. I just wish our president could stop being so pragmatic. And that's what a lot of people have said about him. He's a pragmatist. But the pragmatist has gone from that to being a flip-flopper, flopping around like a guppy. I mean, President Taft, Trump always flip-flops. I don't want to start calling him President Taft, T-A-F-F, Trump always flip-flops, but that's kind of where we're going. He keeps flip-flopping on us, and it's getting confusing and tiring. I'm just being truthful. It wears the people who actually think, those of us who think, that have discernment, and who want him to be successful for the sake of our country and our children and our grandchildren, it makes us very tired. Like my wife said, it doesn't embolden him to me. It doesn't make me have confidence in him. It doesn't make him look presidential. When my wife says these things, I listen because she's not like a political animal, And he's done it on vaccines. COVID and warp speed shot were the best in the world. They're the greatest, And then he starts saying, well, we need to get to the bottom of warp speed a few days later. What's it really all about? Then he goes against Florida, wanting to not require any mandates on these kids, give parents the choice, which is where it should be. And then he says, no, we can't really have that. Some of these vaccines are awesome. And then just wait a few hours, he puts out on Truth Social a video on how all the vaccines are poisoned. Well, which one is it, man? President Taft. T-A-F-F. Trump always flip-flops. I don't want that to be his moniker. But he better get it with the program. Because one day he wants to go over and build a hotel and golf course in Qatar. And now today he's telling us how horrible they are, which is what we've always known. So why is your kid over there building this? I want to get to all that, plus the big kill in Israel. Now, before I get to that, I want to address something because I always want to answer questions. And some folks email in, and my team shows them to me, some great emails. People are like, yesterday when I said, pray, I said a year ago, September 6, 2024, pray that Tucker Carlson repents. Pray that Tucker Carlson repents from being a tool of Satan. And then if he doesn't, that God would curse him. Well, I'm not really praying so much for the repentance thing anymore because the guy to me has crossed the line. And he's had a year and he just keeps doubling down and doubling down. And now, as you heard yesterday, well, Hamas, I think it's a political organization. Yet we know what they say about the Christians and the Jews and what they've done, the murder, the rape, the gang rapes. Almost too much to even describe, but we saw the videos uncensored on October 8th here on this broadcast. And the interviewing people that trash on Christians, interviewing people that are saying that things that are clearly in the Word of God are made up, like the millennial kingdom. Interviewing that mother Stephanopoulos. I mean, it just goes on, interviewing people that I think are promoting anti-Semitism. At some level, you have to say, this guy is not even showing in the last year any hint of seeking truth. And some are like, wow, should we really be praying that God will curse him to be an example, use him as an example to the rest of the world? If you believe Genesis 12, verse 3, I'll bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. Yeah. So that, what did I say yesterday? God does it, not man. So that what? So that the world will see that you cannot continue to flagrantly violate the commands of God and prosper. That's what I said, right? That's totally biblical. And again, we have a lot of people that listen to the broadcast that have not been with me my entire 35 years and not my entire career of radio since 1995, 30 years, whatever that is. So I get it. And this is, again, some of the emails, they're not accusatory or any, they're just very sincere emails. Wait a minute. As Christians, is this something we should be praying about? Yeah. If you feel led to do so, yeah. I'll give you a couple examples before we go to our guest. Let's start out with Psalm chapter 69. If you have a Bible, you can go there, or a smartphone, you can look it up. A Psalm of David, Psalm chapter 69, verse 22. You should read the whole thing, but let's pick it up at verse 22 for the sake of time. Talking about the evil people, all these people, all these adversaries of David, the wicked. Verse 22, may their table before them become a snare. And when they are in peace, may it become a trap. May their eyes grow dim so that they cannot see, and make their loins shake continually. Pour your indignation on them, and may your burning anger overtake them. May their camp be desolate. May none dwell in their tents, for they have persecuted him whom you yourself have smitten, and they tell of the pain of those whom you have wounded. Add iniquity to their iniquity, and may they not come into your righteousness. Woo! May they not come into your righteousness. May they be blotted out of the book of life. May they not be recorded with the righteous. That's interesting. May they be blotted out of the book of life. Some would say, well, he's not praying that they don't become Christians. There's the book of the living, or the book of those who lived, and then there's the book of life. Is he praying that they be blotted out of the book of the living or out of the book of life? It seems he says the book of life. Theologians argue on this one. And may they not be recorded with the righteous. A little more information there. And that goes on. Then I could take you over to Psalm chapter 83. Psalm chapter 83, verse 13. Oh my God, make them like the whirling dust, like the chaff before the wind, like fire that burns the forest, and like a flame that sets the mountains on fire. So pursue them with your tempest and terrify them with your storm. You notice both Psalm 69 and Psalm 83, it's not us, it's not David, it's not the psalmist here in Psalm 83. That's off. It's not man. They're asking God to do it. So pursue them with your tempest and terrify them with your storm. Fill their faces with dishonor, that they may, listen now, they may seek your name, O Lord. Isn't that what I said yesterday? I think we need some global examples. And why not start with Tucker, since he seems to be inviting it? So that what? What'd I say? So that the world may know about the character nature of God revealed in such an act. Now, God may choose to do it, he may not. But these are prayers that if you feel so inclined to pray, you can pray. Eventually, God is going to put a hook in the mouth of the enemies of Israel and draw them out, and they're all going to get killed, a bunch of them. And why does it say that's done? So the world will know that he is God. Psalm 83. Let them be ashamed and dismayed forever. Let them be humiliated and perish, that they may know that you alone, whose name is the Lord, are the most high over all the earth. You see, it's not praying for vengeance. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The Lord can do far better than anything we want. It's not praying for vengeance. It's not praying out of anger or bitterness. It's praying out of the desire to see righteousness exalted, wickedness punished, scoffers scorned, and the world to get an object lesson, if it be his will. And then you can go over to Psalm 109. I don't have time to read all of that one. There's a lot there as well. Another Psalm of David. What he asked for them to have done. Psalm 109, you should read it. So, indeed, there is a biblical place for calling that people that flagrantly over and over and over violate the laws of God, the character nature of God, the commands of God, and embrace blasphemers and wickedness and Satanism. And that's what Hamas is. Islam is Satanism. Can we stop? Can we please stop fooling around here? We are at war. We're already involved in a civil war. Most Americans just don't know that. We're already involved in World War III. Most Americans don't know that. I had a guy on last night for the first time. Matt, what's his name? Tardio? Former Special Forces guy. You should watch the whole interview at Brandon House. It was Brandon House Live, but it's at Worldview Tube. I asked him the same thing I've put to Annie Cyrus and others. Are you anticipating a major terrorist attack? And I said, do you think the National Guard that President Trump is putting on our streets, which again, here's a perfect area where I appreciate President Trump, because it is called the National Guard. And what have I said here for years and years? Bring our military home, protect our borders, defend us from the enemies that have flooded in under the 8 years of Obama, now, of course, the 4 years under Biden. And I have no problem with the National Guard going after international drug cartels and gangs and the sex traffickers that are tied to these international gangs, many of them tied back to the CCP. And did you see Judge Jeanine Pirro? She was in Texas. She was in Texas and she made a video, I'll show it tonight, showing all these precursor chemicals that have been shipped to the cartels through Mexico from the CCP. So I say, thank you, President Trump. You see, I'm trying to be balanced. When I don't agree with him, I tell you. When I love what he's doing, I tell you. That's my job, balls and strikes. Thank you, President Trump, for Judge Jeanine. Thank you for going after these cartels. But I asked my guest last night, is this also about preparing and getting the American people comfortable for more National Guard on our streets because a terrorist attack is coming? He said, yes, I think it is. And it'll be multiple sites in one day. We'll be right back.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
Welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. So I said to this former Special Forces guy last night, do you think the National Guard is to get the American people more comfortable with seeing troops on the street? Because do you think they're aware of a major terrorist attack coming? And he said, yes. And I said, well, what do you see happening? He described the same thing that we were talking about in our vault going all the way back to 2007, and that's hitting multiple schools in one day. 2007, you'll find it in my vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. He says, I think that they'll hit multiple soft targets in one day, 2, 3, 4, likely 3+ shooters per group. Now, listen to what I'm about to tell you before I go to my guest, because I want to ask Aaron if this has been done in Israel. He says, I think what they'll do is they'll hit an area, and then while the first responders are responding to a very high casualty death rate, casualties and death, while the first responders are responding, with some of them responding from different jurisdictions, cities, towns, counties, to give backup, while those first responders are moving to the first location, they will then have their next team hit and kill many soft targets with multiple shooters right next door. Then that will draw more first responders to that second location, some of whom have already been dispatched to the first location, leaving the second location without what it needs. Some will respond who stayed in the second location. Others will respond from other directions to get back up to the second location. Then you let another one rip and a third location and another jurisdiction. Now your first responders are very aware that this is highly coordinated. Now they don't know if they should send anyone from any other jurisdictions to the third location. And they're running out of backup from other locations. And politicians and police chiefs are all wondering, well, we may need to just stay right here because we don't know what's about to happen here. And they let another one rip. And as they do this 3, 4, 5, 6 times down the line, your first responders are quickly overwhelmed. And then, of course, they go in and they start with the next teams behind those going after the first responders. Even if the first team at first location have been neutralized, while they're being neutralized, the second team comes in on location 1. And now the first responders are getting word, okay, you can respond to location attack 2 and 3, but you might want to hesitate because location 1, the first responders are coming under fire. Do you see the chaos you could start creating? Then, if you start disrupting their communications so they can't even talk, they can't even communicate. He said, look for something like this. And he believes that there are people at the highest levels of our government that are very aware of this October 7th style attack being planned, which is what Aaron, myself, Annie were saying on October 7th, the next day, October 8th, with our live coverage in 2023. This is coming to America. So I'm thankful President Trump's team seems to be aware of this. But at the same time, I'm concerned about his understanding of Islam. Is it perhaps he has been misled? There's the extremist Islam and the moderate Islam. And we can make deals, even beach resorts and motel and golf course deals with the moderates. Let's get into all this. First, joining me is Annie Cyrus. Annie, a former Muslim from Iran, now Christian. She'll be with us, actually, not as a speaker this year. Probably next year I'll be her as a speaker. But this year she'll be attending, I think, just to make available her beautiful handmade art. But she'll be with us at our national conference, October 3rd and 4th, Annie Cyrus. And then our reporter on the ground in Israel, Aaron Lavarco, who is, of course, brought to you by our foundation as we make regular love offerings to him through our foundation to support his work as he supports you and me. That is worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Aaron Lavarco joins us as well. Annie, Aaron, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for having us. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Annie.
All right, let's go. We're going to get to a big day in Israel today. But first, Annie, we have a sound clip that kind of caught me by surprise today by President Trump. Let's roll it. Here it is. It's under 2 minutes. Here we go. Oh, I have it too. I can play it. Yep. How old is it? Oh, it's from his first term. Well, thank you for clarifying
Yes, it's
this.
from January of 2017.
Okay, it's from his first term. I have no idea why this
Yes.
is making the rounds today, but let's play
I
its
do.
first. But yeah, it's because of what's happening in Israel. But let's play it because if he knew this in his first term, why is he building a golf course and hotels and everything there? Here it is.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding and its extremist ideology in terms of funding. I want to call on all of the nations to stop immediately supporting terrorism. Stop teaching people to kill other people. Stop filling their minds with hate and intolerance. I won't name other countries, but we are not done solving the problem, but we will solve that problem. Have no choice. This is my great priority because it is my first duty as president to keep our people safe. Defeating ISIS and other terror organizations is something I have emphasized all during my campaign and right up until the present. To do that, stop funding, stop teaching hate, and stop the killing. For Qatar, we want you back among the unity of responsible nations. We ask Qatar and other nations in the region to do more.
All right. So, Annie, if he knew this in his first term, why is he building this golf course and hotel and stuff over there? And what does this have to do with Israel's attack today of a bunch of Hamas leaders in a building? What does this have to do with Qatar or Qatar?
Well, let me ask you a question, Brandon. Are you familiar with the case of 666 Fifth Avenue?
Only because I think you or someone else has mentioned it, but I couldn't describe it.
So I'm going to make this as fast as possible and coherent as possible. What you heard in January of 2017 or February of 2017, the video, is yes, he is still very aware of Qatar's involvement with jihad and funding it and raising it. But let's go back quickly to 2007. In 2007, Jared Kushner purchased 666 Fifth Avenue, which is a 41-story office tower, and he purchased it in 2007 for $1.8 billion. Between 2008 and 2017, that building turned into what Kushner called it a toxic asset because it was bleeding money. In 2018, August of 2018, a asset management company called Brookfield agreed to lease the entire building from Kushner for 99 years, paying $1.3 billion upfront. So basically, Kushner was able to have a bailout and kept the building without going under. We're good until now?
Yeah, and remind our audience again, where is the building?
666 Fifth Avenue.
In New York?
In New York.
Okay.
Heart of Manhattan. So in August of 2018, Brookfield Asset Management leased for 99 years, bailout Kushner. Everything is wonderful. Now let's quickly go back to April of 2018 during President Trump's administration. Here's what happened. On April of 2018, President Trump decided to host Qatar's Emir back then, Emir bin Hamad, in the Oval Office. There was a gathering. It was a dinner. President Trump called him a great gentleman. And he announced that because they're so great hosting our airbase, there is going to be a $12 billion F-15 sales to pledge the Qatari financing a U.S. job. That is April of 2018. In August of 2018, Kushner's building is suddenly saved. Now, let me give you the perfect part. The major investor in Brookfield Asset Management is Sovereign Wealth Fund of Qatar, also known as QIA, Qatar Investment Authority. You want to connect the dots, or should I continue?
Yeah, continue.
So from January or February of 2017, Qatar bad. We're gonna support Saudi Arabia and UAE's blockade because we need to teach Qatar a lesson. But then in April of 2018, we invite Qatar's Emir, make a $20 billion deal with them. And in August, Qatar Investment Authority comes and saves Jared Kushner's toxic asset. I'm sorry to break it to anybody who didn't know, I knew, but even President Trump is willing to sell us out to save family members. So we can all thank this change of narrative from April of 2018 until today, including the investment in Qatar, including the golf course, including the villas being built, including the arm deals, including keeping our military base there. All of it thanks to Jared Kushner making a bad investment in 2007.
Who I'd never trusted nor liked, Jared Kushner. He just has a creep factor, in my opinion, when I look at him. I just didn't trust the guy. And I know about his dad and his dad's history and all that kind of thing. And I think his daughter and Kushner's wife, Ivanka, is that her name? I think she's a liberal. I think her and Hillary Clinton's child, Chelsea, have been pals for years. So I think a lot of them have been Democrats for a long, long time. So I just didn't trust those two. And I was glad they didn't come into the administration the second go round. But maybe this is part of it. There'd be too many questions and too much bookwork that would need to be opened as part of the public accounting. But
that's the thing, actually. One of the Congress members opened an investigation into it during Trump administration, but he couldn't gain enough support to continue the investigation into, is this relevant? Is the purchase of Kushner or lease of Kushner's building tied to sudden change of pattern in President Trump's behavior toward Qatar? Unfortunately, it didn't get enough votes for investigation.
So we come back, let's ask you and Aaron about the attack in Israel today, and is there a connection to that building in Qatar? Quick answer, yes or no. Is there a connection to that building?
To Hamas, yes.
What about to Qatar?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a connection today, which is why this is all coming up, between the Hamas leaders killed in the Gaza in that building. There's a connection, obviously, to the Hamas leaders that were killed and to that building, Qatar. We'll be right back. Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview. All right, welcome back to Worldview Radio, website worldviewradio.com. Full details on our national conference coming up Friday night, October 3rd, Saturday, October 4th at worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. Get your tickets to it if you'd like to attend in person. Otherwise, if you are a Vault member, you can live stream it if you have a Vault membership of any level at Worldview worldviewtube.com/vault. worldviewtube.com/vault. Aaron joins us from Israel. Aaron, big day in Israel. A lot of Hamas leaders eliminated. Tell me about it, and then tell me what you know about the building and its connection to Qatar or Qatar, depending on how you say it.
Big day is an understatement, Brandon. This was a massive day. This is something that's been a long time. In fact, some people are saying it's way overdue. Hamas have been in Qatar for some articles I've read. It says it's been going back decades, 30 years. But let's say at least the last 10 years, these billionaires, the leaders of Hamas who have been taking some of your tax money, some of the American tax money that should have been going to build up the Gaza Strip, instead going underground, going towards weapons, and going into these men's pockets while they're sitting in luxury in Qatar. Finally, we took them out. Now, the numbers at the moment, Brandon, are not clear. At first, the reports that came out was that they were all eliminated, up to about a dozen of them. The latest one I've read is at least, and this is Hamas saying, 5 of the top leaders have been eliminated. Let's wait until things are confirmed. But just like the celebrations when Yahya Sinwar was eliminated, when Nasrallah from Hezbollah, and Mohammed Daif, we talked about this last night. When our enemies are destroyed and defeated, should we celebrate? Yes, we should celebrate. Miriam and Moses, Miriam took up her tambourine and sang, "I will sing unto the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and the rider he's thrown into the sea." They were the Egyptians. They were the enemies. The girls sang, "Saul has slayed his thousands, David his 10,000s." They were celebrating the victory over the enemies. These people murdered, raped, and kidnapped our people. Of course we will celebrate. And if Tucker Carlson, if he had a daughter, if he had a relative,
Exactly.
and they were part of the 1,200, I wonder if he would be criticizing people that were celebrating. No, he wouldn't be. He would be celebrating instead of criticizing. So, yes, great celebrations. Brandon, this is a big, big day. Usually, when you defeat the leaders, that is like a domino effect. It's happened with Hezbollah. So we are waiting to see the outcome. In the meantime, we're on high alert here. About an hour ago, there were lots of sirens that went off. Not in the area where I'm at. I'm in the Galilee. Right behind me is the Sea of Galilee. But in the central area around Jerusalem and the surroundings, lots of missiles went off. We're on high alert. We're waiting for some kind of response. But good news for sure.
I want to correct that. I think I misspoke. I said this building was struck in the Gaza. The building obviously was in Qatar. Do we know that those Hamas leaders were eliminated? Is there confirmation? And how many?
Well, there is confirmation of at least 5, and that was confirmed by Hamas spokesmen themselves. Like I said, the first report that I got was that they were all eliminated. That was up to a dozen. But, I'm getting contradictory reports. So we'll have to wait and see till the dust settles. But for now, we can rejoice that at least 5 were eliminated. And if you look at the damage of the building, I'd be surprised if many were still alive. And if they are, I would imagine that they'd be in a bad condition.
Yeah. And of course, we've got the footage of the building being hit, and folks can find it online as well, but we have it here to play. I mean, it was, pretty intense. I don't know how you survive that. We've got several angles of the building being hit. Any idea how they were hit? Was it drone? What was it? You know, Aaron?
Yes, Brandon. So 10 aircraft, 10 of our top aircraft flew over, and they dropped about a dozen major heavy-duty missiles. They flew 1,800 kilometers. That's about 1,150 miles. They had to do refueling along the way. And they did inform the United States before. And it's really interesting. Do you remember yesterday when we had our interview? Remember, you and I were discussing, why is Donald Trump telling Hamas, giving Hamas another opportunity to come to the negotiating table? Why does he keep on giving them another chance? Well, Brennan, I don't know if you heard reports, but there are some reports saying that this was another decoy. He was throwing out a decoy. He knew all about this. He was informed. He knew that our boys were getting their armor on. They were in the skies. They were on the way, and he was sending out a decoy. All along, he knew what was about to happen. And I lean towards believing that for sure. And Bibi Netanyahu gets on the news about a couple of hours ago after it happened, and he addresses the nation. I've never seen Bibi Netanyahu more angry in my life.
Really?
This was a sense of a victorious, righteous anger. This was in response, not only to October 7th, but yesterday. This was almost like very cathartic for him. It was like pressure building up. You and I, we got no idea how long they've been planning this, what happened, the lead up, the build up, the intelligence that went on. The Mossad chief David Barnea also gets up. He talks about the success. We don't know what went along and the pressure. And of course, the pressure by our nation against Bibi Netanyahu not doing enough. Can you imagine as the leader having to wait for the right opportunity? And if you pull the trigger too early, it could be a disaster. Every major attack that Bibi and our defense ministers have waged during this war has been through a lot of patience, but has been so successful. He said on October the 8th, he said the Middle East will never be the same. And he said to the Hamas leaders, he said, they are dead men walking. And today he's proved to be true.
Here's just a little bit of that audio. I'm sure it's going to be in Hebrew. Here we go.
Yesterday, 4 of our
Hebrew and then
soldiers
were
were
He'd go into
Yeah,
English?
sorry.
Okay.
killed by Hamas terrorists in Gaza.
So here's the English. Good. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yesterday, 4 of our soldiers were killed by Hamas terrorists in Gaza, and 6 Israeli civilians were brutally murdered in a bus stop in Jerusalem. This morning, Hamas proudly took credit for both of these actions. At noon today, I convened the heads of Israel's security organizations and authorized a surgical precision strike on the terrorist chiefs of Hamas. These are the same terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th, the savage murder of 1,200 people, the beheading of men, the rape and murder of women, the burning of babies, the taking of over 250 hostages, innocent hostages, grandmothers, grandchildren, Holocaust survivors. They perpetrated the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Now, they were meeting in the same place, exactly the same place, where they celebrated this savagery almost 2 years ago. At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise. Now, much of the world, including much of the democratic world, or governments at least, have shamefully forgotten October 7th. But I don't forget, and Israel will never forget. Never. There was a time when Jews could be murdered with impunity, but since the founding of the State of Israel, those days are over. On this day, as in previous days, Israel acted wholly independently, and we take full responsibility for this action. And this action can open the door to an end of the war in Gaza. Israel has accepted the proposal put forward by President Trump to end the war, beginning with the immediate release of all our hostages, which have been held in the dungeons of Gaza for 700 days. If President Trump's proposal is accepted, the war can end immediately. We can begin once again to pursue the expansion of peace in our region for the benefit of all. But I want to close by directing my words to the people of Gaza. Don't be derailed by these murderous terrorists, by these killers. They don't care a hoot about you. They live in sumptuous villas. You can't imagine how sumptuous. Away from this battle scene. Their partners in Gaza don't worry about you. They go to the underground tunnels and they keep you above ground so you serve as human shields for them. Don't be derailed by these killers. Stand up for your rights and for your future. Make peace with us. Accept President Trump's proposal. Don't worry. You can do it, and we can promise you a different future. But you've got to take these people out of the way. If you do, there is no limit to our common future. Thank you.
Wow. Very, very well said. And while that was going literally across the breaking news wires that we subscribe to, so many, we did just receive word, Aaron, that the White House spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, said that Trump directed his envoy to warn Qatar ahead of, quote, unfortunate, in quote, Israeli strike. You notice that Benjamin Netanyahu just said that we did this all on our own. We just did this all on our own.
I was just about to say the report from White House is that they were informed, but they didn't have enough time to make any decisions, meaning that the notice was short. The only decision they made was to inform Qatar government it's coming.
Here's what Caroline said. Let's see what she said here, if it'll play for us. No, of course, it's going to have to play a commercial, which we're not going to do. So we'll let that roll past, and then we'll get to it. But she has, again, Fox News is reporting that White House revealed Tuesday that President Donald Trump immediately directed his special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, to inform Qatar of the impending attack by Israel. I want to know from Annie, why would he do that when we come back? Why would he do that? I wonder if, Aaron, if you're shocked by that. I like that he's shaking his head yes already. We'll get to that clip by Caroline Leavitt and a response from Annie Cyrus of liveuptofreedom.com and liveuptofreedom.substack.com. She's had quite a few Substacks the last couple of days, folks, that are must-reads. Aaron Lavarco, lighttothenationsministry.com. And more people are emailing me saying they want to go to Israel and have Aaron as a tour guide. Just put some folks in touch with Aaron. You can always find him there, lighttothenationsministry.com. Brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity. All from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
All right, welcome back. I want to go right away to Caroline Leavitt at the White House at 1:42 Eastern Standard Time today. That would be 12:42 Central. I just read the transcript. This is not a good statement. Here we go.
This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Aaron, your thoughts to that statement, please.
Well, a couple of things come to my mind, Brandon. Is number one, the fact that the attack happened on Qatar's soil, where it wasn't an attack on the Qatari people, yet America felt the need to explain the situation because it was an attack on sovereign Qatari land. So I get that side. And, you know, talking about being diplomatic about it, you know, he was almost apologizing for it. But I understand he wants to keep peace with Qatar. What I don't understand is the danger of letting the Qataris know that the Israelis are on their way. The thought of telling the Qataris and giving the Qataris an opportunity to tell Hamas to get out, because obviously Israel has been planning and waiting for all of these Hamas officials to be together. I've heard reports that they've been going underground out of fear. Now they're above the ground. They're in a building. They're in a secret building, a private building. It's not a governmental building. It's just a private apartment, I heard. Unless the Qataris somehow they wanted Hamas out of the picture, and they're done with Hamas. They see the beginning of the end of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and they're kind of, you know, they want them out of the way. And maybe there's things under the table that we don't know about that have been discussed. I really don't know, but
well, I agree with your point. It's disturbing that he would give the word to Witkoff to warn Qatar, which could give those guys a chance to scatter like the rats they are and survive. Annie, what do you make of this?
I will respectfully appreciate both of your positive thoughts of what could be under the table, but I'm done with what's under the table. I only work with what's on the table, and that is innocent blood shed every single day. Unless data stops, there is no excuse for Trump administration to inform Qatari government of information they received from Israel. That is absolutely a no-no.
How would President Trump feel if Benjamin Netanyahu was informing Venezuela or other groups?
I was just about to say, let's switch places. Would Americans be so generous toward Netanyahu? No, we would have told Trump to never inform Netanyahu of any other activities, any other movements, and that would be the end of it. So I'm not sure
that Israel informed. Do you think they did? Because she says our military picked up on this. Do you think the Israeli military warned the American military, or do you think our military picked up on it through intelligence?
Well, I'm guessing because this is Doha, where our military base is, they did. The Israeli government or military informed our military, hey, we're about to hit this place. Watch out for what might come to you. So, but let's quickly mention a few things as possibly Qatar being done with Hamas. In 2011, end of 11, early 2012, when the Hamas headquarters in Damascus was taken out, Qatar offered them a safe haven in Doha. Okay, this was 2011, 2012. In 2014, Doha pledged $1 billion for Gaza's reconstruction. In 2018, hand-delivered by a Qatari envoy named Ahmadi, through Israeli security, hand-delivered a suitcase of $15 million American dollars to Hamas. This is investment. This isn't something that Qatar is going to walk away from. And Hamas is just one example. I'm rushing through an expose to come out as soon as possible to eliminate any possibility of Qatar is an ally. No. The sentence of President Trump considered Qatar a great ally of America is no. Qatar still has Kushner for 92 more years through that lease. They have the entire Trump family wrapped around their little finger because they bailed out a 99-year lease. Because there is no evidence whatsoever that Qatar or its government or its emir has ever done anything for us. Show me one example, and I might accept that we could consider Doha or Qatar as our ally. There isn't one. The paper trails, what do we always say about Democrats, Brannon? Follow the money. At the beginning of your show today, I followed the money. We can't be hypocrites. If this was Biden, we would follow the money to Hunter. Today, we followed the money to Kushner.
Well, I can't argue with that at all. Can you, Aaron?
No, and we know that. I mean, most of the focus has been on the Iranians funding Hamas, but gosh, the Qataris have been investing billions to Hamas as well. So it's obvious that they are jihadists just as much as the Iranians are. But like I mentioned, I wonder, are the Qataris seeing the handwriting on the wall? Are they realizing that Hamas are dead men walking, as Bibi Netanyahu said?
But is the Qatari government led by outright Islamists, right, Aaron?
My understanding is that absolutely they are.
So you can't make deals with these people. I wish we had more time. Stay tuned for Crosstalk with Jim Schneider, vcy.org, vcy.org. Thanks for listening. Take care. And we're back with WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida, and Aaron. I mean, if they're led by, what do we know what brood of Islam? Are they Sunni? Are they Shiite? What are they?
Wahhabis.
They're Wahhabis.
That's why their biggest fight is against Saudi Arabia and vice versa. And UAE. I mean, I should say the current emir is Wahhabi. The foundation of it all was Sunni, but right now the government is ran by Wahhabis. But I do want to add one thing. One thing that was said on that video, I also want to emphasize that President Trump has absolutely no right nor authority to guarantee this will never happen in Qatar again.
That's a very good point, because when I heard that, I thought to myself, well, how can he guarantee that? I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu has a right to do what he wants with his government, his military. We again, all of these people that say that Benjamin Netanyahu is the one, running the country, the Jews run America, that Benjamin Netanyahu controls Donald Trump's subservient to his Jewish masters. I mean, I think we just saw today that's not true. Another lie we just proved that the anti-Semites always run around and say, right, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think it's just like I mentioned. The statement to the Qataris from the American administration was very diplomatic. It was just candy coated. It was almost, as I said, it was almost like they were smothering the Qataris. They're trying to defend their relationship with the Qataris for some reason, which I do not understand.
Okay, but can we not at this point say we have to ask if there's conflict of interest in the family business? Yeah. Is that not a fair question? Wouldn't we be saying that if it was the Bidens?
Yeah, there's a smell somewhere. And I think Annie, with her great research, I think she's onto something here. This could actually be the real big problem.
I just want to put a note out there. I am not suicidal.
Yeah. Well, let me just say, Annie, true or false? It's this kind of behavior and this kind of stuff that could get President Trump impeached. even by
100%.
and may even get him impeached by some people in his own party voting for it. True or false?
True, 100%. 100%, because it is grounds. If, as I said, first congressperson in 2018 who started the investigation didn't gain enough support. But I think if somebody started today, they will gain more than enough support to finish the investigation and then go for impeachment, because this is clearly a conflict of interest. And I want to read something that I posted on my Facebook about an hour ago. And I said, of course, until Washington orders a ceasefire, for now, IDF chief of staff, reflecting on Doha operations, said, we will carry out this mission anywhere, at any range, near or far, until we settle accounts with our enemies. Reason I said this was an hour ago. It was before the speech and before the video, before the statement. Because I know U.S., Washington is going to jump in, make guarantees to Qatar that this will never happen, even though there's evidence that Hamas members are. And now I want to ask this question of Aaron. Originally, IDF released 5 names that were the target that were supposed to be in that building. Palestinian authorities started releasing 5 names. 3 out of 5 names are bodyguards. 1 is the son of the leader. The other name is the office administrator of the leader. So we have 5 people dead, but not the 5 original targets. Can anybody, without reasonable doubt, tell me that the original targets didn't run because Qatar got heads up?
Oh, wow.
That's what I was referring to. Why would the Americans let the Qataris know that we're on the way? Well, that's what I didn't understand, and I don't understand.
Because Israel managed to take out 17 IRGC leaders in one attack. I highly doubt they would miss the 5 targets they had for today. Now they missed it. There is a possible way we could say, well, they missed their targets because they informed the wrong people.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of suspicion going on. And again, my suspicion goes back to your report. I wonder if it's got something to do with family interests.
Well, it's all very disturbing, and this is the kind of situation we find ourselves in. Where Annie, I told my audience from day one that I'm thankful President Trump won. I'm thankful he went into the White House, but my job as a journalist to take me where the story goes. I'm not on his payroll. Okay, so he didn't pardon me from anything. Other people and journalists got pardoned. You know. He hasn't pulled the IRS off us for stealing $49,000 from us. So I don't really owe him anything, right? I'm an independent journalist.
Well, knowing you even if he did any favors for you, you would still report on the truth.
That's right, because I'm going to be here long after Trump is gone, and I'm going to honor my commitment to my audience. So I want you guys on Brandon House Live tonight to go into this further and recap. Hold right there. Don't go anywhere. We'll discuss that with you guys. Wow. LiveUpToFreedom.com, LightToTheNationsMinistry.com. Wow. I'm not sure you guys are going to hear this anywhere else. This is big news. Take care.
Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation, having worked his way up from